So I'll hand you back to Hannah. Okay, I'm doing a bit fuming at the moment. If I start a rant, believe me, I ain't going to stop. But these will be handed out when she's finished.
No, let's do it now.
You want to do it now?
Yeah.
So I'll hand these out now, if you want to give me a hand. And you'll see exactly what we mean.
Okay, so while these are getting handed out to you, I just want to make it really clear what this is. So this is a document, it's a full detailed forensic examination and analysis of the Christchurch Mosque attack live stream video, as Calvin said. And again, just to reiterate, that live stream is banned in New Zealand. You're not allowed to watch that. And as he said, we had to get an expert to look at it overseas. So the expert, the author of this document, is a man by the name of Gareth Jacobs. Now, it has been peer-reviewed, as Calvin has said. Now, I just want to start by reading the disclaimer here. The events documented here are completely separate and unrelated to the events that occurred at the Al Noor Mosque, Deans Avenue, or Linwood Islamic Centre, Linwood Avenue in 2019. This report focuses solely on the associated video evidence. So nobody here is actually claiming that nobody died at the events, okay? Because from what we can tell, the experts are saying that the video is a fraud, just the video, okay? They're not saying nobody died. Does that make sense to everybody, just to be really clear? Because some people think that a false flag means nobody died and that everything was fake. It doesn't mean that. It means that elements of it were fabricated, but other elements could very well be real. And there's a lot of people that have contacted us that have said they know people who did actually die in that event. So we're not saying that nobody died. What we're saying is that we have now got a report from an expert. Now I just want to go over a little bit about this man's background. What he says in the introduction, he says, in 2019, I undertook a digital forensic analysis of the Christchurch Mosque shooting video after receiving a link to the video prior to it becoming classified as objectionable. Using my skill set, I noted a number of discrepancies and made contemporaneous notes which became the basis of a report. I contacted Detective Inspector Chris Cahill, the president of the New Zealand Police Association, and discussed the concerns I had with the video. I urged him to make contact with the officers involved with the shooting inquiry to urge them not to use this video as evidence in any upcoming court case, as it was likely fake and may jeopardise the case. I passed a copy of my report on to Detective Inspector Cahill at the time. I had no further contact after that. Now, he's also been given a copy of this report. So this man, Gareth Jacobs, who's a digital forensic analyst who has been employed in the past for 6 years by the New Zealand Police, by the way, and he's also spent time, he's had 5 years in the military. He's been doing this for 14 years. So this is not just somebody on the internet, okay? This is an expert here in New Zealand that has been used many times over by the New Zealand Police in many court cases here in New Zealand where he's digitally, we've analysed digital content, and that's his area of expertise. I just really want to make that point clear, that you know how awesome it is to have such an expert come forward and do the report all over again, and actually I think it was better than the first time round. But also the other point is that the New Zealand Police were in full awareness of this information after it happened. So where did that information go? What happened to that information at the time? So in about July 2025, we contacted him, and so that's how it's come about that he's done this for us. Now, Calvin, I just want to quickly say a bit more about this introduction. So he says, the findings will show compelling evidence that the video is not genuine. For the avoidance of doubt, this report is being done under the protections and provisions of the New Zealand Films, Video and Publications Classification Act of 1993, Section 135D and 6, for the purposes... 131, sorry. for the purposes of making representations in relation to proceedings against the clients by the New Zealand Police. That's obviously us. So I think it may be, do you want to kind of go about, do you want to just touch on the key findings for people to make it important, especially the people who are watching who don't necessarily have this document in front of them yet?
It basically goes out and proves conclusively lack of blood that should be present, lack of trauma that should be present, lack of kinetic blowback that should be present, lack of smoke, lack of damage to walls, windows that are supposedly shot 3 times that don't blow, but use a blanking that falls inwards instead of outwards. It's like a comedy of errors. No wonder they moved to ban this video so fast. And remember, National Labour are both in this. So are all the little Klingon parties. Have you heard any of them stand up and question anything? No, they all fall in line like little minions. Well, they've now just turned into lemmings and they're going to follow their leaders off the cliff. We've been at this for 3 years, we've been calling it out. Since we got arrested, actually we were calling it out long before that. That's what led to getting us arrested, because they needed to silence us. As you can see, that hasn't worked. We're expecting assassination attempts soon. But we're fit and well, we're happy, we're not looking at committing suicide. Just have to say that. Mind you, they'll just, if they did do it, they'll come up with some excuse anyway, because they control the investigations, don't they? And all you get is shafted. So Gareth Jacobs is actually a man of integrity. He wanted to have this thing perfect. This has gone through like 5, what do you call it? 5 rewrites, not rewrites, amendments, just to make sure everything was word perfect and that it was incontrovertible and it was beyond doubt. So Christchurch needs re-examination because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. It calls into account the coroners, the investigations team, the intelligence agencies, definitely Jacinda Ardern and her cronies. New Zealand First was in there as well. Who else was part of the government at the time? And then Jacinda Ardern, after taking everyone's weapons off them, goes over to the US and goes on the Colbert show with her little look of empathetic leadership. She's a toxic little snake. She informs them that New Zealand's now safe because all of the good people have their guns taken away. Because everyone knows you don't make laws for bad people. They just ignore them, hence they're criminals. Only the good law-abiding people actually adhere to it. You get shafted, crims get a free rein. Anyway, she tells them how safe New Zealand is. And that same week that she's over there, we had over 20 shootings. Never happened before. And yet they didn't put 2 and 2 together. You need a gun to stop a gunman. And all you hippies who say you don't need a 30-round magazine to go hunting, some of us are bad shots, so we've got to chase it with the rounds. And it's not just for that, it's for tyranny as well. And we have a lot in this country. This country is run by a criminal organisation masquerading as a government. This here conclusively proves that. This is only one. We know that there's been politicians, police, and other public service figures named in the Royal Commission of Inquiry into Abuse and State Care, but do you think you'll ever get those names? Not until we get in there, then you'll get them all. And they'll get the justice they deserve, which is jail and asset stripping, especially over the COVID con. So all the anger you feel, all the frustration you feel, we are your greatest weapon. Your votes will be our ammunition. You load us up and we'll do the firing. Because we're coming, whether the state wants it or not.
Did you talk about
And this is not going to stand.
Did you cover all the anomalies, the digital anomalies?
Yeah, well, we talked about lack of blood, lack of trauma, just the 57 rounds fired from one magazine, which is impossible.
But all the actual
But just,
technological stuff.
it's better that people just read the report themselves. But what we can tell you, the report is accurate, is incontrovertible, and you need to read it. And share it far and wide. And if they ban it, just keep sharing it. What are you going to have, a team of 5 million in court together? What a party. Anyway. And to all you retards online who like trolling us, you just fuel us. You just give us the fuel. Because we're going to carry on because you're not irks you so bad. Oh, and to those Māori folk out there in Tāmaki Makaurau who say you white ass prick or whatever shouldn't be running in a Māori seat, you're probably more Māori than most of you plastics. You ever used a Māori passport twice overseas? No, I have. The white boy.